Hello viewers, in this video we are going to see how we can make this kind of card slider in our React app using Tailwind CSS. Let's begin. First we are going to need one div. In this we are going to place our buttons. We are gonna need two buttons. In the button we are going to have an image, an SVG which we already imported in our public directory. Okay. This one should be right. Okay. After that we are going to need another div to put our card components. In this div we are going to place our first card. In our card we are going to need an image which we already imported in the public directory, right? So we are going to use that. The width and height should be 300. You can use your desired height and width. There should be an H2 which should be bold. Okay, there should be a body text which should be gray, 600. Okay, so let's give our card a background. I'm going to use white, and let's get this get the corners rounded. Okay, get some padding all around the component, maybe 5. Okay, the minimum width of the component should be 300 pixel, or you can use your desired size, but this class is important. Okay, so this text should be black. Now we have one card. We just paste it a few more times. Now we have a few cards that are stacked on top of each other. To align them horizontally, we add this flex class to their parent component, which will make them align horizontally. We need to add some gap, maybe 5. Okay, so now we have the cards horizontally aligned, but this div right here is pushing the viewports to the right, which is making the whole page scrollable, but we don't want that. We want the scroller only in this div. So let's add a class here, overflow x auto. See, it takes the scroller inside this div only. Okay, so now that we have the cards designed, we need to make these buttons working. So to do that, at first we need to get the buttons inside this div, right, this container. So to do that we are going to use a relative class to their parent and an absolute class to these buttons. see it gets them inside, but we want this button to be on the right. Okay, so it goes to the right. Now we are going to give these buttons full height of their parent, so that they are middle of the container. See, let's add some padding, horizontal padding, maybe 3 or 4. Okay, and get some maybe this. Okay, let's copy this and paste it in the other button. Okay, now let's give some hover effect to these buttons. When we hover the button, it should be black, and the opacity should be about maybe 20%. Right, now that we have this hover effect, we want to copy it and paste it to the other button. Right, yeah. Now let's get the buttons working. For that we need to add 2 arrow functions to control the behavior of the buttons when they are clicked. Copy this function and make it priv. Right, so get this button on click event. No, this should be priv, right, and this one should be next. Okay, so this error is here because this is a client component. We need to use this code, otherwise it will not work. Now we need to import a hook from React. We are going to import the use ref hook from React. What it will do, that it will let us control the behavior of this class as we want to scroll it to the right or to the left. So we need to create a const ref equal to use ref. We initialize is as null, and we get this div reference of the container reference that we just created. Right, now when this button is pressed, we want to control the behavior of this container. See this container. Now when we click this button, this next function is called. So here we want to container ref.current scroll to. We want to scroll to a certain amount on the right. So to do that, write this left container ref.current scroll left plus maybe we want to go 350 pixel to the right when this button is pressed. Right, let's see if it works. When we click this, yeah, it takes us to the right, but this behavior should be smooth. So that it looks better. See, now we need to add this logic to the previous button, except it should be negative. Right, we want to click the we need to click this and it goes to the left. Okay, so this is almost finished, but we need to add some more functionalities to the buttons. Like when we click this next button, we want to and we go to the most right of the container, we need to make this button invisible, and when we press this button and go to the most left, we need to make this invisible, right? So let's do that. At first, this left button should be hidden by default, right? Because we are not going to get any left elements on the start, so it's by default hidden. And when we click this button, it should be activated, right? Yeah. So let's get this activated. For that, we are going to need a reference to the previous button and next button also. Prev button, get this a reference of prev button as the prev button, so that we can control its behavior from the function. Okay, so in the next function, when the next is clicked, we want to change the behavior of the previous button, and it should be active again. Dot add no, not add, we want to remove the hidden class from the button, right? Oh, so it's giving an error. When we click this, it should be activated. Okay, so here it should be class list, right? Yeah, when we click the next button, it activates the left. See, it activates the left. So we need to add the similar logic for the left button, but instead it should activate the next button, right? So let's get a reference to the next button. Yeah, so the next button should get a reference to the next btn. Okay, so when we click the previous button, it should activate the next button. But notice that this button isn't deactivated when we reach the most right, so it this code right here can't activate it. So let's remove the button or make it invisible when we reach the most right. So to do that, we need to calculate the maximum scroll amount that we can go on the right, right? So to do that, let's container ref current dot scroll width and subtract it from container ref dot current dot offset width. Okay, so now that we have the maximum scroll amount, we need to check if the container, if the scroll left has already reached the maximum scroll minus 351, because if it has not reached the maximum scroll minus 351, then it can go another round of scrolling, right? So we don't need to deactivate that button. So but when the scroller has reached the max scroll minus 351 pixel, then it should be removed or made invisible on the from the container, right? So let's make it invisible. Next btn dot current dot class list dot add hidden. So that's it. When we reach the most right, it deactivates the button. Now we need similar logic for the previous button also, that when we reach the most left, it should be invisible, right? So to do that, let's add if container ref dot current dot scroll left is less than 351, otherwise it will just make another scroll. So when this one is true and it's the container ref scroll left is less than 351, it will just remove the button from the UI, right? So to do that, let's brief button dot current dot class list dot add hidden. Okay, so when we reach the most left, it should be invisible. Okay, so this is invisible. Now the buttons are working perfectly. We just need another style. We need to remove this scroll bar from our view. So to do that, let's just write this code. Layer utilities, get a class no scroll, and WebKit scroll bar. The display should be none. Let's just add this on this parent div of the cards. No scroll. See, the scroll bar is vanished. So we have our card slider. Yeah, that's all.